Welcome to the Sizzler mountain bike race. This is out in Greensboro, out at Owls Roost, and I started on the second row. It's my buddy Jack on the left there, and we're getting with a hot start up some grass. I have done this race once before. This was actually my first ever mountain bike race. I did it back in 2016, and I have the trophy for it. I got first in the beginner class. It was my first ever mountain bike race, and thought I would give it a go. Here we are, coming back down the loop, and we're going fast. I'm on this guy's wheel. We're rolling. He's on CycleWorks. Ooh, we do some jumps over these little bumps here, and we're coming down into the grass. I am actually on the same bike I raced for ORAM, the Princess Sierra Specialized Epic Evo. I think it's a 7. I did change the fork, got the new Sid Ultimate fork, not new, bought it used. And I changed the tires. These are pretty beefy Wicked Will tires, and I changed over to this, which is the Thunderbird. A little bit quicker tire. I kind of noticed that everybody else was on kind of faster tires at ORAM, so figured I'd put something. There's my attempt at putting tires on. I put faster tires on. This was actually my first ever ride on this tire. I didn't warm up or anything because I got there kind of late. Don't recommend that. Anyway, we're coming through the trails here. Kind of go on to a greenway, and then we enter the trails. And then you start doing a loop. We have 4 loops, so this is the beginning of the loop. A lot of single track on this course, which I didn't realize, but is quite bad for me if we're talking about overall race outlook. So I know I'm gonna have to do the best I can to go fast, and right there I'm at the limit. I actually hit a little tree stump. You can see it right there with my pedal, and it just knocked my right hand off my bike, and I had to grab the cables, you can see there, to keep myself from fully falling. I also went to grab back onto the bars and hurt my middle finger really bad, which gives me a chance to talk about PRUNGO, which is, I guess, a channel supporter for the next few videos. PRUNGO makes red light therapy devices, which is a cool new form of therapy that uses lasers, different wavelengths of red light, different wavelengths of light that have been shown to promote different cellular functions. So what they're intending this use to be is in kind of a therapy device of different minor aches and pains. I've been using it on that injury that I had in my knuckle. I've also got another one in my thumb that had off-roading as well, where I hit a bump that was too hard and I just blew through the bars on my cyclocross bike. So now transitioning into the off-road season, I'm going to be using it a little bit more just because you tend to hurt things a little bit more when you're racing off-road. It's a pretty cool device for using when you're just sitting around watching TV, recovering normally, but you can kind of promote some healing in those little spots where you might have some uncomfortability just from hurting your knuckles. I have a collarbone injury from a gravel race where I flipped over the bars, and some of that mobility isn't back yet. So I've been using it on my collarbone just to see if I can increase some of that mobility, maybe reduce the pain when I do get to the range that it does start hurting. I've been enjoying using it. It's a very easy device to use. This is the Flux Go, and it's got these little pods that come into a carrying case that charges it. So everything's pretty easy to use. I just keep one around, and whenever I'm sitting around, I'm like, oh, I should use the PRUNGO right now. And I do, and it heats up a little bit of like those inner joints, and I can tell it's getting a little bit more blood flow in there. So hoping that will help heal those aches and pains a little bit more. Already the swelling is starting to go down a little bit in that knuckle, and it's just a few days after, and I've been using it every day since. So promising results early on. Definitely recommend looking at the PRUNGO device and trying some red light therapy if you're interested in kind of reducing some of those aches and pains. Back to the video. keep riding. That was a little scary. I was early in the race, so we're only like 5 minutes into the race, and I'm already having some wild stuff going on. I need to recalibrate and figure out just how to ride my bike again. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to calm down as much as I can and just look at good lines. I think I was looking a little bit too far ahead, and that's possibly why I crashed. Wasn't really looking at the stump. Had an incident a few weeks back riding on some single track where I was looking too far down and I hit a tree with my face. So now I'm extra concerned to keep looking farther up for any trees that may have fallen in the way. So we come into some uphills, some very rooty uphills on this course, and you can just pedal through. You really have to pedal through. It's not really a can thing. And that helped me a lot. I do enjoy technical climbing when I have good legs. We eventually started catching back up to the CycleWorks rider right in front, and here we are on the bigger hill. And I didn't know this was coming first lap, but I saw it was pretty uphill and it looked pretty far open, so I knew I could stretch my legs, let's say, on this. I start pedaling pretty hard. I don't really know how long it's going to be, but I knew once it flattened out I could probably recover a little bit, so I'm trying to catch up to him, and he is actually series leader. Apologize for not knowing his name, but I'm catching up to him, and I can tell he's really not wanting to go as hard as I need to go on this, so just come around him on the trail here and just put in a really good dig. I got a little bit of separation up at the top here, not really enough to make an impact on the race, but had a little gap into the top, and the descent down into the next turn was unknown to me at this point. So I'm just going to try and be consistent with this descent as much as possible. For the first time in this race, I'm not behind anybody. I'm not following lines of anyone. And I don't know this track. I've raced it once before, but it was 9 years ago. So coming through some of this, I'm just reacting to it the best I can. Some of these corners I'm blowing a little bit more than I would have wanted to. Right there's a little fun rocky section. I heard somebody smack their tire on one of those rocks right as we came through. Also trying to get used to these Thunderbird tires. They say don't try new things before race day, but when all of race day is a new thing, it doesn't seem to matter too much. So coming through the next lap. We've got a few laps to go. We still have 50 minutes of racing left. And I have a little bit of a gap, but I was quickly caught on the more technical sections. I feel like during mountain bike races, I get a little more consistent with technical skill, kind of learning how the tires are working. Here on the left, the guys who have caught me, Jack Perry up there, he sends it on this part, which is actually a real hard part to send it, and he just makes it around me. I had to put in a pretty big effort too to not lose that, but Jack's a very smooth mountain bike rider. I ride with him a good bit. He lives up in Roanoke, works for the Black Bibs, and I am trying to follow his line. I know he takes good lines, so I usually trust him, and I can usually follow it, but Jack's putting in a pretty good dig here, so I am pushing the limits of my technical ability, trying to keep up with him. In the road, we always follow pretty close, so it feels weird to let a little gap go so that I can see and react to the trail a little bit easier, but I've been working on doing that a little more, and here we have a little bit of a gap to Jack. Unfortunately, he was not able to pull out too much of a gap. I think he would have liked a little bit more descending in single track before we got to the hill that next lap, but up in the distance you can see we're catching up to lapped riders, which is going to continue to be a theme during this race, but right now we're passing them pretty easy. Jack's taking that sick inside line there. He is sending it around these guys and kind of pushing me to have to do the same. So, lapped riders, we are learning how to do that. I don't do that often. I did Athens Twilight, where I lapped the field, but in the road, you don't tend to lap different groups a lot. We passed one of those other guys, and maybe even this guy. He said, this is why I hate e-bikes, because the e-bike class did start in front of us. But we are not the e-bike class, and he thinks we're on e-bikes, which I'm going to take as a compliment. And I told Jack that guy had said he thought we were on e-bikes. And then I took another opportunity to put a dig in on this hill. This hurts. Okay, I have to do it because I'm not that good at the downhills compared to everybody else. So this is where I'm going to have an advantage if I don't crack myself so hard that I'm that bad at downhills. So every lap we get to the uphill part, and I know I'm going to have to just put in a big dig. My legs are feeling pretty good again. I took a long break after some racing, and we come through this next lap, and I have a little bit of a gap. Every lap I would pull out a good gap, and they would kind of pull it back by the time we got to this next laparoo. But I'm getting better at the mountain biking stuff. I'm taking lines a little more confidently now that I'm figuring out how this trail rides. But we are lapping riders again. And so I'm yelling out the best I can. I don't really know how to do this that well, so the guys behind me, I assume, are going to have a little bit better time. See, like right here, I messed up getting around him. I said, coming around on your right. It was too late to say that. I'm not making decisions fast enough and not committing to them. So the guys behind me are absolutely catching up. But we're lapping a lot of people. So I need to learn this stuff really quickly. Come up on two kids here. I told them I was behind them, but again, I wasn't loud enough, so I don't think they heard me. Also, they're racing, so I don't want to upset their race. And I took a little more momentum through there, but the guy in front stopped up the guy behind. So I just had to run around. You can see on the right here, somebody else's tire from my field. That's either John or David, I think. Kind of scooting up around the inside of me. And so we go back downhill. I'm going to try and pass these guys. They let us by once they realized I was behind them because I almost rammed into the back of them. Then we get back to the hill. And I'm just going to hit it as hard as I can on this hill yet another time. And so I'm going as fast as I possibly can. And the guys, I looked back. I got a little gap on everybody else. I'm passing dudes here, which is pretty good. Getting a lot of speed. This was actually a really good place to feed. Unfortunately, this was the first bottle I had. Just a bottle full of carbs, fuel, which is pretty nice. They make a good mix. And then my Black Bibs bottle. And that was it. That was the only drink I would have this whole hour race. Luckily, I got some sugar in there and the carbs, fuel. I'd had some water before. It was super hot. You're going to notice my heart rate's pretty high for almost this entire race. Just been doing some endurance lately on the bike, so this kind of effort was difficult for me to recover from, but could have had more sugar. I did bring some carbs fuel gels. They make like a 50-gram gel. It's pretty good for races when you're in a pinch, but I just never felt comfortable on this trail taking my hands off the bars until that climb, and on that climb I had to attack every time, so did not get a lot of opportunities to drink. But right there, I just put as much sugar down as I possibly could. Thank you to Carbs Fuel for sponsoring our team. They don't sponsor this channel or anything. They don't sponsor my YouTube, but I like what they make. So thanks, guys. And I'm continuing to race. I got caught up behind some more guys here, taking this inside line here, which was not one I was doing before, but I saw the other dudes do it. That outside was pretty blown out too. So I'm kind of learning the trail, which is fun. We're catching these two guys. I was behind them for quite a while, and I got plenty of opportunity to rest, but everybody else caught up. You can see Liana put a camera up right here. There's me, David Ridley right behind me in my class, then John, and then Jack Perry in fourth behind us, about 30 seconds back. So I'm trying to get past these guys. I know I gotta put some more pressure on the guys behind because we haven't really been going that hard. We've been doing some good efforts, but overall, the power on these off-road races just tends to be much lower than the power I need to do, the power I can average for that period of time, and the power I need to do to get gaps on these guys. So it races super differently, and right here I'm passing a guy, passing another guy here. I really need to learn how to get around dudes, or like to wait for the right time to commit fully. But we get to this next little steep uphill section, little washed out, rooty section. I asked this guy to pass. He said, I'm not going to slow up on the hill, and yeah, I understand that. I wouldn't want to slow up on that hill either. So I'm expecting to look for kind of a race line, try to go on the inside there, but that guy had to take that line to continue his speed. If I had waited just a little longer, I could have gone through the left there. I think David behind me said that that was a good save. So Didn't need to save it, but when I had to, it worked. Got caught behind some more guys on this downhill. This may have actually helped me because prevented the guys behind from finding a good place to attack and to put some distance into me, make me push on the downhill where I'm going to be at a higher risk of making mistakes. So get past those guys eventually, but we're back to the hill again. And I know I'm going to have to put one last big dig in. I think I had a slight separation on David behind me. I didn't want it to come to that trail section where he might be able to pass me and to get a little gap before the finish. So I just went as hard as I could until the top of this thing. And then the downhill, I just was racing as smooth as possible. I looked back and I saw that I had a pretty good gap on him. And then we got to the finish of the lap. I didn't really know how many laps we were in. Again, I didn't drink much water, and so I'm a little delusional right now. So I asked them, and then last minute somebody did tell me we could exit now. Liana with the last second bottle hand up, for which I used no real water. Exit the trail onto the pavement section here. And we are pretty much done. That guy coming off of the course, he told me that I had a good gap on everybody else. So come through the start finish, and I figured the finish would just be going up the hill like it was starting up the hill. However, that finish banner's on the other side, so right now I'm thinking, man, did I take a wrong turn? Do I need to go back? Luckily, this woman on the left here said you have to do another loop, so that helped a lot. Even though I didn't want to do another loop, I continued. Caught up to this kid here who just ripped down this hill, do some jumping down through the hill and into the finish, taking home my second victory out here at Owls Roost on the Sizzler. Second victory in 9 years, I suppose. Got time to turn around and watch John for the finish, and David in third. Pretty cool racing with these dudes. Right there, I shook my hand out because I realized that I had jammed my finger once I gave him a fist bump. Oh well. Go check out the PRUNGO FluxGo red light therapy device. There's a link in the description. It might help you. I'd go give them a look. Consider using it. Thank you to them for sending me the FluxGo, and hopefully can get me a little more healed up and ready for some more off-road racing. Thanks for watching. See ya.